Happy 2026, my Zimbabweans. We are into the new year. I hope 2025 was good, but 2026 will be much, much better for you. Good health, good money, but most importantly, a life. You can't have all those things, kanosina life, anywho, guys, do not forget to keep subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you have subscribed, I thank you so much. My YouTube channel, Tanata Marimira. Subscribe by Muwanere Papo. Currently, my YouTube is not monetized because I'm doing some AdSense admin. As soon as that is done, it will be monetized, and I need you to keep watching the adverts. It will support an African girls. You got it, an African girls dream. Thank you to everyone who subscribed, by the way. You're seeing me on your FYP, YT, YMCMB, AMG, because today is juicy story time. Let's get started. Nyayadiaba inbox mona vanayo inbox tishamti mkoma Tinashe antika samkoma Tinashe antara chititani. What you say is right. Of course I'm right. People must know where they come from. It's very important. And he says, I'm going to prove it using the story Njuzu. So this is not the mwene wenyaya and is and brother mwene wenyaya vandudza nyaya saka munhu edu ndati tichamuti Tinashe antika. Alright, so nyaya yakamira kadai. So they've been told nyaya vachikura nagogo vakaudzwa pa vakarorwa mumhuri imomo nasekuru vakaudzwa nemadzibaba avo. Madzibaba, let's just say the story has been in the family generations for long and long. Anyway, vakakura vachidzwa nagogo vaunganidzwa pamoto, vazukuru vese vedzinza vaibva unganidzwa pamoto vachidzwa about their great grandfather. It is said great grandfather wana Tinashe was a trader. Vaitrade nemaportuguese anditka vaitrade nemaportuguese vaigara kwamtoko ndokwa vaigara vaitrade nemaportuguese vachipiwa maclothes vachipiwa chichichi vachingoita zvekutrader. He was a chief at that time mamtoko imomo. So vaita vachitrader nemaportuguese. At some point vaimbopiwa ivory, vaipiwa maclothes vachiita zvekungochinjana until one fateful day vangari maportuguese vaigara vachitrader navo. Then one day these Portuguese came and they gave him something very valuable. He could not believe his eyes. These guys brought Sekurana Tinashe gold, diamonds, and like all the precious stones. He could not even believe his eyes because he was like, guys, you're doing all this just for ivory, and like you guys hardly give me shakadai. So what's really going on? And these guys were like, listen, baby, there is more where this came from. Okay, so stick with us. More of the stuff. But if you want more of this stuff, shirukuma boats edu. And as you know, in Zim, you guys, we cannot pass through because y'all landlocked. So if you want, you can come with us to Mozambique. And he was like, okay, cool. He told his family, Nchambo travel and my traders, so sanongana idzaichi, my customers, mozo, mdaraja uya, and mdaraja and zvinzvakanaka kuchema spices, kuchema clothes, machichichi vangokodzwa zvese zvachauya nazvo. And Sekuru embarked on his journey to Mozambique with the Portuguese friends of his that were traders. As you can imagine, this was too good to be true. Eventually, they wanted to take Sekurana Tinashe, to take him to Portugal and, I don't know, do things with him, like enslave him and wara. And they really needed him because he was a chief, so he was a man of high power, you understand? So they knew, if we take him, we can like do like a ransom situation until we take him and we tell people we've taken your king, to pay my ivory, to pay Nzuzu, to pay, you know, those valuable African things that they really needed, the raw materials. But it just so happened, as they were fighting, eventually Sekuru was thrown into the sea. He was left for dead in the sea. They didn't even look back, what happened and what, because they were in an argument, obviously. It was so heated to the extent, one of the Portuguese traders, Anzakato Wiramvura, and he drowned, and, you know, yeah, ndopakapera sarungano yake. And Sekurana Tinashe was also thrown into the sea. He was left to Murupabad. You can imagine how heartbroken Sekuru was, How could these people do to me? And you can imagine his life just flashing before his eyes, like really thinking, what the hell? What the hell, auntie? What just happened? You know, these people were my mains, and what's really going on? And you know, he was just, you know, in awe, like, how could this happen to me, you know? Anyway, he went at the bottom of the sea. But obviously, I'm telling you this story because somebody had to tell the story about what happened at the sea. And as you can imagine, it's obviously Sekuru. Sekuru was reaching the bottom of the ocean, and it just so happened he felt someone carry him. There were some mermaids that came to carry him. Mermaids, yes, Ndatima mermaids as in men. They came to carry him, and they took him to some beautiful mermaids that were over there. And yeah, that's Sekuru being taken by the mermaids, and they took care of him, and they knew what really happened, and they were like, listen, we are sorry this happened to you. Tino sympathize anyway, we are very sorry about what happened, we feel sorry for you. And he started talking to the mermaids, he started getting along with the mermaids because they rescued him. So he was like their person, you understand. And they're like, okay, tichakudzosera kumba kumshande kupi. He started telling them ndekwakati, and he had to obviously narrate what had really happened nema Portuguese kuti ndoshaitika what. It's cute when families have this type of deep stories that just are shared from generation to generation. It's just amazing. Is it not amazing? Because it feels like a book or something, but this has been shared in over 5 generations. Nyandrukudze has been shared in over 5 generations, guys. So, Tinashe. Eventually, Sekuru was taken back, and obviously his family consulted, and they were told kuti Mwanacha took at the right time Musachke, and when he comes back he'll be richer than before. Because he was a chief, chiefs would be given a tribute, vachibadaroma taxes, vachitwa say. So he was rich, and as if that was not enough, he came back with all the jewelry, all the treasures you can find in the ocean that he was given by the mermaids. So when he came back, the whole community celebrated, and everybody was literally rich because he had to share with the community, because the community was for him, and he was for the community as well. So share Rehupfumi guys, do not mind this little girl that's right here, because she's the Ngwene, but I don't know what she's doing in the 1900s, early 1900s. But you listen, I don't know why AI keeps bringing her right now. Anyway, Sekuru shared his wealth with the society, and it just so happened from there on his community was no longer down for mabunu. Vangasadikona mabunu, akatona mabunu, and mabunu akatozopesera asatoende like to that particular part of Mtoko. Tinashe says till this day white people do not visit that little remote part of Mtoko, because Vanekoko, they are very aggressive. That history still lives among them, and they do not have nice things to say or to see about white people. But like all good things, Sekuru's life had to end at some point, so all good things must come to an end, and Sekuru was buried. Not only was he was buried across the river. That was his request. He says this request was something chavakaudzwa vachitori kumvura Njuzu. You need to be buried close to water so that we can, communicate with you, we can take you, because watomun wedu that type of thing. Anyway, Sekuru akavigwa just across Nzizi, and it is said kuti those 2 men vangakaita navo inonzichi trading what at some point they ended up drowning, and quite a few Portuguese ships drowned at that particular spot. Yangekambodrowniswa Sekuru yavaifunga kuti akafa. A few Portuguese boats boats and ships and whatnot ended up drowning at that particular spot, and people were like, so obviously he became more respected by the Portuguese, and there were quite a few Portuguese who were still dedicated to him, who were loyal to him, who were true to him, I guess, and some of them appeared and people were like, listen, noise and whatnot. So we have reached the end of our story. Yeah. Yo, I'm kidding. We have reached the end of the story kwa Sekuru. That's what I meant. But anyway, Gogo proceeded to say Sekuru believes someone with his blood at some point, this generation or whatever, but in the future there's going to be someone who's chosen to communicate with him. I'm sorry, because muna ni shungu ze kuita mari, munangani shungu ze kuita mari, and he was working his ass off for his future generations to make money. So he still needs to make sure that dream is fulfilled, so he will come back and he will have the help of his mermaid friends. So people were just waiting, who's it gonna be? But it was said it was going to be a female because they correlate better with females compared to males, as in the mermaids. Now, a gazillion years later, enters Tinashe's family. Now, Mumpamana Tinashe, there were 5 boys. So it's 5 boys, and mom and dad, there were 7. But now, people just believed, even Gogo, even Baba Tinashe, believed Kuti, this Njuzu must be within his siblings or him, like Vanavabo. Tinashe or Vanema siblings. That mermaid has to be there. Because the thing is, Baba Tinashe, nimwe brother yavo vanga vakafanana singeti nasekuru wavo zvaingotaura zvinonzi mafanana singeti mune mafeatures akawanda singeti ani asekuru chichichi. Mind you, he was a chief, so obviously there's some pictures of him with the Portuguese and whatnot, so people do know Antika, just in case you're wondering. That's what he told me. Anyway, so people believed between him and the brother, one of them was going to have a kid who's a mami water. But Tinashe was like, well, it's definitely not going to happen for me at this point because I have 5 boys, and it was said that it's going to be a woman who's going to come and correlate with those mermaids. So it's definitely my brother. The brother had 4 girls and 3 boys, so they believed Dr. Bavana. The reason I'm speaking in Shonglish is because most of you have been complaining, which I definitely do understand, guys. Kuti, some of you munonzwa shona, but not like Shekudaro with the way I speak sometimes. So that's why I'm now speaking in Shonglish, which works better for every Zimbabwean at this point, Antika. When I become confident in speaking English fully, then maybe I will start doing my videos in English. But I think this one will work better. I just hope some of you are gonna appreciate this art in the comments, because if no one appreciates, I'll go back to my deep shona. That's it. Anyway, so Tinashe was like, okay, this is just gonna work for my brother, not for me now, because I have all boys. But what do you know about Tinashe? You are not God. One fateful day, my Tinashe is chilling with her friends. He literally remembers that particular time because the guy was looking, I would say, scary. Listen, you know, it was scary. It's like watching Michael Jackson Thriller for the first time. It was so scary watching Thriller and Michael Jackson. So it's like that feeling. I would like to believe it's the same as you singing and watching when I'm big. I hope I'm saying things that make sense. But yeah, pazove madzimai angu akatogara padhuze nepatime pazove madzimai makadii zvenyu ndinokumbura mvura yekunwa mevatinashe ubva watosimuka ubva waita sebva wanotirakapo ubva wadhaya chibhorani ubva waita sei ndobva mugodhi ndobva wapachi nganga yeye yachi mvura yekunwa nganga yeye itori paipai ndobva yatoti amaita basa amai ndinotenda ndichazokonai gore rino hariperi ndisina kudzoka because kwakurutanga kwegore. And then Tinashe ubva ngoti pakanaka ichi chitokupai zvekudya zvikanzi aivo pandichazodzoka next time muchazonyatsondibikira zvakanaka chichichi. So she just kept wondering kuti kake chitomuchisara zvoti muchadzoka muchitei, zvikanzi mwanasikana ari mudumbu menyu ari kuda kuti ndidzoke. And she was like, zvikanzi hamusiziva mune pamuviri, zvikanzi muchapona mwanasikana, musi wamuchamupona ndo musi wandichadzoka. And then ndobva tongoti okay, murume uyo ndobva aenda. As you can imagine, my Tinashe was shocked with her friends. I'm like, go, Chomi, yo, girl, I didn't even know I'm preggy. Like, what? I didn't even know. Anyway, but Tinashe vods the news, and he was like, oh, okay, nice. At that time, they didn't even think about the mami water situation. We all know, nyedze kufamba idzinotanga nasi. Amuzivi matanga nadzo nyedze kufamba nditika andimunozviziya. Vana mai Tinashe vakazofamba nana amwene vakati rega timbonobvunzira timbononzwa kuti chi how far. This was a different nganga yakwakaenda. Nganga yabva yatoshopera ikati pane mwana musikana ari kuuya, ndiye uya anganzwa nekutaura makore wamamanzwa nekutaura, ndiye achauya. Ndimi muchamuita sei, ndimi muchatigira mwana akadaro. Zvikanzi mwana upi, zvikanzi varidzi vechi vemvura vari kuuya, kavasikana vekugeza varita sei vari kuuya, kana vauya muvauchire. Asi munhu iye akupai chiprofita ichocho achadzoka musi uchazvarwa mwana. Saka muchaona nekudzoka kwake kuti mwana akuita sei, mwana akuzvarwa kana kuti anenge atozvarwa, ndiye achazozadzisa zvinhu zvokufanira kuitika pamwana wenyu sikana. Then they're like, oh, okay, cool. As promised, months later, my Tinashe gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. We are going to call this beautiful baby girl School. Andipa antiwangu wakati ndishandise zita rako. That's not the person's name. Ndanchingotsvaga mazita anga aneta nonzwa nchingoti wadza. So tichamuti School. So school ndobva aningirikina ndobva azvarwa. Musi wakazvarwa school, lo and behold, ubaba came back. And as promised, a feast was had, people celebrated. And this guy made sure that these people do what needs to be done. So after the feast, after the feast, vana moms vakapa munhu mwana because kwatomanirana Tinashe ngotienda unorara at this point. So takutaura izvi zvinhu zvaanongonzwa mukukura Tinashe anditka. Anyway, some hours later kwakwasviba and godobori onganga yakabva yati chirega inende namai vemwana nemwana nababa wake tingori 3, we need to go somewhere because mwana uyu haasi wedu tega, tikufanira unomuratidza kuvaridzi vake. The nganga tema dunyora akatema nyora pana mai nababa nemwana tunyora twekuti vazive vevambura vazive kuti vanhu vari kuuya vana ma-ill intentions, pakaitwa ma-incantations anofanira kuitwa. Ma-incantations atruta, it's like kukumbirira hai chichichichi, you know, wara. So ma-incantations akaitwa and then eventually vanhu ndobva vazera sei ndobva vazopinda mvura. But akapinda mvura was the nganga yakapinda nemwana mvura. A signal was given. The signal was water coming pa mashores pavanga vari, and kuya kwemvura ikoko ndokwavaratidza kuti okay, we are being invited in. So pakwada kutaurawo zvinhu zvavangonzwa nen'anga kuti vaona mwana wafara vacelebrata and then mwana obva atongobuda and you know, life went back to normal. But what happened was this nganga kept coming back, and this child knew she had a calling. From the time she could understand life, she knew she had a calling, and it wasn't something chikutanza ivunduka. Yet Nashan to start out, everyone knew she had a calling because remember, this was a story spinning from generations to generations to generations, or spanning from generations to generations, I don't know. So everyone knew she had a calling, and she also knew she had a calling. She had a calling to the extent Yakuti. Sometimes, and Tinashe, we enjoyed watching our sister, because remember, this is a little sister to 5 big brothers. They enjoyed watching their little sister go to the river, because every time she would go to the river, cute things would happen, amazing things would happening that would leave you saying, oh wow. So pakaienda ka school, pakaienda kumvura, vaiona all of a sudden pane pangone fish dziri around her chichichi, and they were just looking out, oh wow. But one particular day he says he saw something chekutika. It was a sight for good eyes on that day. It was a sight for sore eyes Chirungu. It was a sight for sore eyes, to the extent that if you had sore eyes at that time, I vatoila, because it was a very beautiful scenery for you to just look at. Tinashe remembers seeing hove dzakawanda dzichita some circular motion, dzichispina ubva mvura dzichitoita like dziri kutamba or something. You know how synchronized swimmers do their stuff, chichichi. That's what he saw. So according to my AI, something like this, that's what they saw. And you can imagine the boys were like, what? And it was so cute. They were shocked and amazed at the same time, but it's definitely something jamsingadikudza sister knew trukuzvona. So vaingetaka kudongora, but I think somehow Anzi she kind of knew, because she would be like, you know, kumashire kwake kuti, guys, can you stop it? You're making noise and stuff like that. But he remembers that particular day, after they saw what they saw, he remembers something presented itself right before them. They say 5. A big fish presented itself before the boys. The boys took the fish, because fish yacheteta ngezvezvekuti iruda kutongotorwa muri pabata yaitongeta kunge fish rutongodawo kutongotorwa, and they took the fish, they enjoyed it at home, and they were just telling one kuti zvazvichiitwa naskuku kumvura chichichi, you know, that type of thing. Anywho, now we are going to go into school story in a bit of a detail. This one I HKise, guys, so don't be scared, don't be scared. One day, vanhu vakatochila zvavo chichichi, there's a beautiful lady who came kumba. She had my waist beads, she had anklets, I don't know if my anklets, yeah, she had anklets on, she had a nice African bag with her, she had very nice long hair, she had jewelry, just like I did with this picture. And avangofunzana mehana Tinashe chikanzi skuaripo, and they're just like, oh no, skuenda kuchikoro. And then she was just like, okay, cool, mozombachi begirindirake. And she just vanished, and everyone knew, okay, this is definitely a mermaid. She's just too pretty and she doesn't look like she's from this world. And she, you know, obviously came by and dropped whatever, and then she left. When school came back from school, akaudzwa about the lady, and then she was like, oh, ndowakadai also, and then she started explaining kuti, oh no, ndombaona kuhope with the purple tail, she just started telling her the things. I don't know why my AI for some reason gave this lady a bag, mvura. Imagine Njuzu bag mvura, like what the hell. Anyway, this is the lady wanga described, but just the same lady wanga taura chichi, and she was like, okay, cool. And she just started using that bag for school. Yeah, Rangar Sinajin, it was just maybe a gift or something. The thing about school was she was a very great swimmer. I swimmer, teacher would put everyone to shame. Akuna mna mkunda province kugo swimmer. Now, anyway, one day I told Vashake like kuma swimming practice and over pura neparuzi. School achitova zvake kunosteya taikuti kusteya swimming practice akapfura neparuzi, and then she encountered a mermaid. She had an encounter with a mermaid. Mami watandova watomtiji, I have a present for you. She was given a mirror. She was given a mirror as a present. Akanzimira iroro apata achirisa murumba anorara. Eventually, when she was given this mirror, mirror, the mermaid disappeared. And school was like, okay, cool, because so it was easier for her. She went with that mirror ku room kwake and she placed it by dresser pake, because the mermaid had told her, when we need communication with you, we shall appear nepanapa. This is like our little portal with you. So whenever you need us and whenever we need you. Yes, baby. Whenever we need you and present mom, sorry. Whenever we need you and whenever you need us, teacher say and she was like, okay, cool. Now the first night, school slept. Something weird happened. Let me not say weird, but yeah, something happened the first night she had the mirror market. Yes, Mama Sita. Baby. In a dream, she was with the mermaids. They were celebrating, they were just enjoying life, just having a little sele, and they were like, so this is how it's going to be working. So now you see how this mirror works. Whenever you need to channel us and whenever we need to channel you, we'll use this mirror. It goes to show you guys, mirrors really are portals, and my heart goes out to everyone who sleeps with a mirror open in bedroom. I've seen some people like mirrors, which is not a sin. I love mirrors, but before you sleep, guys, make sure you put your mirror in the closet and close it, or you just put a cloth over your mirror. Don't sleep with your mirrors or even your closets are open. I've noticed so Tinashe was saying, guys, portals really are, mirrors really are portals, Antika, so just be mindful of those things. So that's how she would channel the other world. But the weird thing is, the next morning, school woke up the next morning, she was dripping wet, and everyone was like, go school, what happened? And then she was just quiet. She was like, never mind, and everyone knew what's going on, but people really wanted to understand what really happened. Their family was a family of no secrets, so school eventually told one when they were having breakfast about that, guys, this is what happened, and they were just laughing about it. Also, how was it? And the funny thing is, she said she saw a male figure, a human just like me, and he really looked like he knew me. I'm guessing Kutinti Sekoro. He didn't introduce himself, but I'm guessing the Sekoro. So he says, okay, so she said, but they didn't talk much. He was just happy to see her. That was all. And people were like, oh, okay, maybe in the sekuru, and everyone just brushed it off. Eventually, they spoke nganga ndobva yavo yakumba, and school was there. Vachida kukumbirirwa kunzi sekuru, do you have something for us? But eventually, guys, school did the things that needed to be done, the rituals that needed to be done, and she got acquainted with her great grandfather, her forefather, and that grandfather showed up and showed off. Guys, I'm talking about school being that person wekuti ndambokudzai, I need you, do you remember kuti this sekuru was one person who was just all about world vaishikira pane muzukuru wavo, vaishikira vachishava, like Shavi and school would do that out of body experience for like 6 hours straight. Achishavira dzinza rese, anatete anabamnini dzinza rese rababa vake airishavira. Each and every person aishavirwa. Kana nchiti kushavirwa, sekuru vaishika. Every person awayonzi, iwe chena unovura business rema wig, iwe chena unovura business rakati, and on it also things that would give people money, and money, murubabata. That's what school was too, because it was an out-of-body experience. After Chishaviras for the whole family, and the school one gonna take a whole week agaresta because she'll be so tired. So they have mansions, they have the Benzes and the Rovers, and they have money. Basically, their family is moneyed, and school is especially moneyed. She has money, and everybody else in the family has money, because school sekuru vanoshavira paari vanoita zvebag muri pabata, so anoshavira vanhu zvinhu zvine chekuita nemari, vanhu vachiita mari and whatnot. So this is what he was saying. I think it also goes on to give that Kings of Jozi. If you've never watched Kings of Jozi, please watch it. Sorry about that little hiccup. Munongoziva murungu kana aita call the shots, you gotta answer. Anyway, anotoshavira dzinza resemari. So shavi remari rere pazvechinzi shavi looks like asese mashavi akashata, guys. So anoshavira dzinza resemari achiita channel spirit yani yasekuru vavo vemumvura vanga vakaraswa nemaportuguese vakazonzwisisana nenjuzu. So in their family, water is very important. Of course, water is life, but they hold water dearly because there are times when they are having occasions or functions, basically. School has a time she sees things in water. You can just give her a water dish and she sees certain things and says certain things. She uses it to communicate with people. Even mirrors till this day, she channels certain things nipa mirror. So she's not one person who loves being around mirrors regularly, because to her there are certain things she will see that might scare you, because you'll be like or something. So for those that have never watched Kings of Joburg, yes my love, So for those that have never watched Kings of Joburg, please try to watch it. It's not that scary, but it will just give you an insight of mermaids of the family. Of course, this one needed sacrifices and whatnot, which is different from like Tinashe and True Tara. But there was a mermaid that would tell people what to do, and it would give them mula. It was one of the reasons they had mula, the family, and Masero or something. Kings of Joburg features the late Shona Ferguson. He's in season 1, and the show is literally carried by Zolisa Kaluva. So if you love Zolisa Kaluva, definitely give it a watch. It was so amazing. I remember the reason I watched Kings of Joburg was because when Shona was still alive, he advertised it on his Instagram, and the picture he used was mwah. I recall him using this particular picture, and I was like, Shona Ferguson, Zolisa Kaluva, Stembiso Koza. Ooh, child, I'ma watch it. So yeah, if you like any of these eye candies, you won't be disappointed because they're in there. Except Stembiso Koza had shorter screen time, and Abdul Koza, his brother, is also in there. So give Kings of Joburg a chance. It's there on Netflix. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's our story time. I'm definitely trying to rile up the guts of Bermuda Triangle. That's the next mysterious place that I want to do. I've decided we can't just do Zimbabwe Chete. We need to do some of those mysterious places that we've heard about. Tichikura and Bermuda Triangle is definitely one of them. So definitely this coming week I will post something about Bermuda Triangle. I have about 4 people running Njuzu story times, but so I'm gonna take my time. I'm still coming because so I have Njuzu story times that being said, guys, enjoy your 2026. Have a lovely one this first week of 2026. Bye-bye. This first week of 2026, make it count, make it happen. All the best. Please gift my videos if you can, and when you can, with what you can, I would appreciate it. Anyway, ta-da. Mwah.